sim racing fans, and welcome to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, where tonight at LSRTV and iRacing Live, we're happy to bring you another doubleheader of primetime sim racing coverage, beginning right now with the second race on the RODDCAR Truck Tour Season 2 schedule, coming off of the season opener just last week in Daytona, and that very venue we'll be at later on tonight as a part of our doubleheader coverage with the iSuper Speedway duel at Daytona. In the meantime, it is Atlanta for round number 2. The truck's back in action tonight, and as always, we're happy to have you along for the ride with us. Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, topside with driver analyst Josh Ball and LSRTV producer Cisco Scarmoose at trackside to get us on the air, guys. Daytona, always a fun place to be, and well, we're there a lot on Friday nights, but these truck guys got their opportunity to take to the Daytona High Banks, Andy, last week. Just like that, we're now right back into the thick of things to round 2, back to an intermediate racetrack and right back in it, and we're looking to go for race number 2 on this second season of the RODDCAR Truck Tour. First season, very successful, very exciting. Couple of things different. Obviously, the big thing is everybody now working to fix setup. This intermediate track going to be a great place to highlight that change.
Absolutely. It's just going to basically show the competition level. When everybody's got the same exact setup, it's going to show you who's going to be the fastest, who can figure out the setup, who's going to figure out the tire wear with this track. It's a hot track tonight, 110 degrees almost right now for a track temp. So tire wear is going to be a key here tonight. Obviously, the longer the runs, the slower the trucks are going to be. They're going to be searching for lanes, high side, bottom, middle. They're going to be all over the place. So it's going to be fun to watch. Exciting place for the trucks to come. They're always put a good race on here in Atlanta.
Yeah, the trucks are always fun. Atlanta is always fun. You put them together, it's going to be a wild night of racing. We saw Atlanta provide some good action in the first season of the RODDCAR Truck Tour. And Josh, I'll turn to you for this point because we talk about intermediate racetracks a lot, cookie cutters. Normally, if you're good at one, you're good at most of them. But Atlanta, very different, kind of like a Texas. This place is stupid fast, and that means that high speeds can lead to a lot of excitement and a lot of close calls. We're looking at a field of about 30 or so drivers right now, and as we get set to head into our 5-minute open qualifying session, which is another thing I like about the trucks, is the fact that you're going to see all 30 drivers hit the track for 5 minutes at the same time. Best starting position, going to get obviously the pole position with the best lap time in that window, but Atlanta is a very unique intermediate track amongst them.
Yeah, Evan, and we got 31 drivers out there tonight. Looks like a lot of them are going out right now. It's right at the beginning of the qualifying session. You got 5 minutes to get in the best time. 31 drivers on the field tonight. As you were mentioning, one is going to go home, so unfortunately that one unlucky person not going to be able to make the race tonight. But I think, you were saying it's a fast track. Definitely a fast track. I think the key tonight will be who can save the most tires, as we're now all on the exact same setup, the fixed setup, as you were pointing out, something new to the RODDCAR Truck Tour for Season 2. So we'll definitely have some differing strategies. I saw a couple guys run the very high line in practice, as you see a couple of guys doing that right now in qualifying, just to see if you can get a better run up there. But it should be a very interesting show, topping out around 190 miles an hour down the straightaways in the draft. So definitely a fast track, should be interesting.
And they also call it Hot Atlanta for a reason, and that is the track temps up at 109 degrees Fahrenheit for this one. So the drivers take trackside, get set to go qualifying for what is going to be an 83-lap affair in this evening's Atlanta 200. Daytona, though, 60 laps to get out of the way to get this season kicked off. Season 2 of the RODDCAR Truck Tour now featuring an 18-race championship all the way through Homestead in 5 months' time from now. So it's a bulked up schedule, a couple of changes here and there, but it is still the same core group of drivers. We're still expected to see the same tenacity amongst drivers, especially those that aren't all that friendly with each other, as we did last year, Andy, though. But through Daytona, like I said, now we kind of get back into things. We're going to be at Daytona still for the next couple of weeks, and we have been for the last couple of weeks later on Friday nights with the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series. But these guys, again, they just wrapped up their championship. Josh Hanner took home the inaugural title. And in the immediate following week of that, you went to Daytona, and now we're back here tonight for round 2. So there's no slowing down for these truck guys. So, well, it is the start of season 2. Nobody really got out of their rhythm or out of their mojo. They're just keep on going like they were in the bulk of that season 1 schedule. It's business as usual, but it is round 2 of 18, and we always have to mention that a championship obviously on the line. You want to get a couple of good races out of the way early, not having to rely on those drop weeks coming in late to save you.
No, exactly. You gotta take advantage of the races that or the tracks that you're good at, the ones you tend to have better racing luck at. You got to take advantage of those nights, and the ones that you're running in the top 10, top 5. You got to make sure you finish there, not force the issue, not put yourself in a bad position where a wreck or something like that will put you back in the 20s or whatever for a finishing spot. So every race matters. The ones at the beginning of the season, definitely you want to make sure you get those best possible finishes you can. That way you can basically save your quote-unquote mulligans for the end of the season if you happen to have them or if you happen to miss a race. So everyone that you enter is definitely important. These guys, we know who they are. You look at a guy like Brandon Jaberko, missed 4 races last season. If he didn't miss those 4 races with the 5 wins he had, we might be talking about him as our truck champion.
And he's definitely one of the drivers to keep an eye on. Why? Because, well, we still have a little bit over a minute left in qualifying, and he likes his time. Well, he's at the top of the board. A 29.593 has that good wrench service Chevrolet on the top of the board at the moment, and Chaburko's brought it down pit side and parking it. He likes that lap time. Some other names: James Pileski, Matt Quick, Christian Peterson, Casey Malone, some of the guys inside of the top 5 in qualifying. But our 5-minute open queue session for round 2 on a RODDCAR Truck Tour Season 2 Championship just about to draw to a close, which means we're set to go racing for 200 miles. So with that, we'll toss things down trackside and get tonight's race officially underway to our opening ceremonies and down trackside with Wesley Bryant for the singing of our national anthem. And a big thanks once again to Wesley Bryant for that, and I think we're just about set to get race 1 of 2 on the evening. Actually, race 1 of 3 on tonight's triple feature on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Underway with that, we'll take a look trackside at Atlanta, rack 'em and stack 'em, and take a look at our iRacing.com starting grid for the Atlanta 200. Brandon Chaburko, he was satisfied, rightfully so. The number 3 machine will start from pole with that 29.593. Outside pole going to remain in the hands of James Pileski, and no other changes inside of the top 5 in the final 2 minutes of qualifying. Matt Quick, Christian Peterson, and Casey Malone through 5th.
Next starting tonight will be the 22 of Stephanie Lessentine. Starting 7th, Rod Flagg. Josh Hanner will be 8th. 9th goes to Ryan Keese, and Ryan Pilen starts out 10th.
On the inside, Frank Musiala, number 94, starting P11. To his outside, Shane McKeechin. Rodney Wofford, starting P13. Mark Jorgensen, the People's Champion, starting 14th in the Bass Pro Shops Chevrolet. And number 15, Matt Montepi.
And behind him in 16th is Kenny Holderman. Seth the Merchant is 17th. 18th, Jason Altman's Ben Nile at 19th. And rounding out your top 20, the 43 of Ron Thompson.
21st starting spot tonight goes to the 83 of Ramon Evans. The 088 of Ken Conley starts 22nd. 23rd is Jared Haggerty. The 24th starting spot is Josue Ramirez. And Daniel Ferguson starts 25th.
Dana Osborne, 26. Kelly Dahl starts 27th on the night. Greg Hooks at number 98 starts 28th. Ray Rittenauer and Tanner Mann round out the top 30. The only person that did not qualify tonight, Sean Boundy.
At a field gapped through the top 30 spots, so we're ready to get at it once again. And as it was last season, but a little bit more leeway here, we have a 75-minute official race window. If this race takes more than 75 minutes, despite us not getting through the scheduled distance in laps, we would end on time. But I do believe that's 10 more than what we had in Season 1. So I think with that being said, we won't see any major problems. But Atlanta has been known to throw us a curveball or two. The only thing that we can promise, and it's my favorite word always, is interesting, because it's a wide variety of things that could happen tonight. Nonetheless, though, we're ready to get the heart of our season underway, and that is at these intermediate racetracks. It is race 2 on season 2 of the RODDCAR Truck Tour, now a fixture on our LSRTV schedule on Friday nights. We're happy that you're tagging along with us on iRacing Live. The pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn down and away, and a field is in the hands of the control truck. Brandon Chaburko's number 3 going to roll out of turn number 4. He's got from when the pace car drops down to when the flagman drops the green flag at the outside of the American Ethanol restart zone. Green flag in the air, racing in Atlanta for round number 2, and a good jump top side for James Pulaski. Going to make it a drag race for the race lead in turn 1.
That it will, but it's going to give Brandon Jaburko the ability on that bottom side to really hold that thing wide open. You'll see that for at least a lap or two with these trucks. As Matt Quick has problems, he drops right to the apron right there on the restart. He's going to fall right to the back. That's going to move the battle for the 3rd spot in the hands of the 52 of Casey Malone and Stephanie Lestine right there. But look at the 71 of Christian Peterson now on the outside, 3 wide right behind him.
And he'll find a spot to go 2 wide, yes sir. He'll drop in behind the 10 of Josh Hanner, and he'll stay up on that 3rd lane, dropping to the back. It almost looks like an intentional move by the 71 to get back, but it's a tricky way to do so. Matt Quick wanted to drop back. We saw what he did. He went to the apron, got off the gas, went back quickly. It looks like the 71 is trying to get out of the fray for the time being, but in doing so, created a 3-wide situation for the opening 2 laps. Finally, he'll drop back far enough behind the number 55, Machine Ben Nile, in 16th position to get himself in the clear for the time being. But it clearly shows that not a lot of guys want to be inside the top 5 and the top 10 early. We're seeing the excitement going on about P10, 2 wide, a lot of it around that 24 Ryan Keys. Battle for the race lead is on, though. Brandon Chaburko in front is being chased by James Pulaski. We talked about high speeds, Josh Ball. That means that there's a lot of draft in effect tonight as well.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody, there's just so much action going on right now. Those fixed setups really make everybody so equal and everybody right together. It's everywhere you look is some racing going on. 2x2 back from 6 on. You got racing all over the track, but you got three wide now. You got 3 of those Chicken Wing Motorsports Chevrolets up front leading the field right in front of Stephanie Lesson team, but it looks like nobody's given an inch. They're all in the blanket under a second back to 12th place.
And at 22, Lessentine on the outside of the racetrack started in 4th, scored, or rather in 4th now, but started in P6 at the start of the race. However, she's on the outside of the racetrack, trying to find a spot down in line in the STEM Cimex Toyota. Got her first career win on Friday night, so now she's broke through that, and she's looking to fight for a championship in Season 2. She's on the outside, kind of stuck behind Casey Malone, who sits in 3rd, drops to the bottom, big checkup, damage to Pylon, the number 94. Frank Vasilia going to be caught in the 94 and the 88 of Jorgensen sandwich. front end damage on that 88 as well, after we saw Malone drop to the inside of the racetrack, and it looked like Pyland Andy had just committed to make it a run to the bottom, checked up about 4 trucks, and a lot of guys got some sort of damage in that.
Yeah, a lot of damage right there for a bunch of these guys, and 3 wide action still going on right around that 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. we just talked about, involved with that. Frank Busilla, you can see it looks like he backed his truck right into a telephone pole right there, all pinched in right in the middle, in the center of it. It looks like the speed's still there for him, so at least that isn't hurting him too much at this point. But exactly what you'll see happen when you get big packs of vehicles like this is one guy checks up, and then I'm not sure if Malone hit the apron a little bit and had to let off the throttle, but either way, with that, it ends up causing everybody behind him to stack up and run into each other. As the battle's still continuing right now, Stephanie Lessening on that high side, trying to make the high side work right now. She's getting a little bit of help from the 31. They almost make contact there off turn 4, but a huge nest of trucks right now around that 8th to 9th spot, all the way back to about 15th, 16th spot right now. Some great racing, side-by-side action all over this racetrack.
We obviously do, when we started this series with the open setups, that some guys would be faster than others. Obviously, the bigger teams having a lot more of an advantage with working on the setups. But when everybody's on the same equipment, you can tell how evenly matched the talent is in this field. We'll go 3 wide again, just inside the top 10, back by the 17 of Matt Bontempi. He'll kiss the fence in turn 1, lose a lot of speed, lose at least 5 or 6 spots down in turns 1 and 2. But I mean, these guys, Josh, they're more tightly packed together behind third than they were on the grid. It's essentially a plate race, and the fact that everybody is on the they all have the same truck, so they're all basically even. And with that draft, they can't get away from each other. If you don't want to be in this battle, then you had to have either bid Matt Quick, Ryan Keese, or Christian Peterson, who got out early, because now you have no choice but to fight or flight, because if you're not up on the wheel, you're going to get eaten up by this pack inside the top 10.
Yeah, and I'm definitely interested to see everybody's using those tires up. Everybody's excited at the beginning of the race. Everybody's right together. I'm not real sure, but Casey Malone's lost 2 spots at the last lap. He's starting to fall back a little bit. Previous series champion, Jace. Oh, we got a big wreck in the back of the pack. I'm not sure exactly what car that was, but up and over there in turn
Ron
3.
Thompson. Looks like it is the 43 Chevrolet. Thompson comes sliding down the banking, and he will be the cause of the opening caution flag. We'll take a look at the replay in a moment. Thompson on the outside. He got loose. But he was on the back of the 8 machine. I'm not sure how much, if at all, that was a factor. But Ron Thompson into the corner. It almost looks like on the bumper of the 8 machine, he just didn't make his arc into the corner as early as he would have wanted to. And we talked about how fast these guys are pedaling. As soon as he started to move that wheel to the left, the back end of that car just did not hook up. But he got a nasty hit into the outside wall after he came down and collected the passenger side of Greg Hooks' Chevrolet. Hooks going to be able to continue on. Ron Thompson, not so much. Up into the fence, heavy damage, and it looks like the 71 machine may have picked up a small piece of damage as well. So with that caution flag at lap number 10, Andy Kessler at a driver's down pit side in front of you, led by Brandon Chaburko.
Yeah, definitely not surprised you're going to see all the leaders come down. I'm sure it's going to be 4 tires of fuel for just about everybody. The tire wear at this track is tremendous. It's very, very abrasive, as you would say. 4 tires and fuel should be the call for most everybody. As you see, Brandon Chaburko right there with Pileski just behind him on pit road, getting their 4 tires. It looks like Quick took 2, and another truck also took 2. So looks like McKeechum was the second truck that took 2 tires. So a couple guys taking the gamble here early after only 10 laps of green flag racing.
And staying out as well in front of these guys, Frank Basilia, the number 94 machine, out in front of the field. Did not come down pit road this time. He may very well be coming in this time through, get the service done. Obviously, you can see the back end damage on his Chevrolet, and then kind of find yourself towards the back of the pack, so you're not, as I said, in the fray. Almost the same strategy that we're seeing a lot of guys play here, very similar to what you would see at a plate track, and so far what we've seen as well is very similar to what you would be seeing race-wise at a plate track. So Frank Basilia does stay out. He'll get a bonus point in the back pocket, and now brings it down pit road and get service completed on that machine. So with that in front of the field now, behind the pace car, going to be provisionally Right now with a second out in front, followed by Matt Quick, followed by Shade McKeachin. Brandon Chiburko fourth, came down as your leader in this race. He came into his stall and took 4 tires, gas, and go. In front of him, though, different story for Matt Quick. The 89 machine came down pit road with the group, did not hit his stall. Neither did Shane McKeachin. They still may be thinking about coming down to the pit lane the next time by, if not at the 1-to-go signal. And then Ray Rittenauer as well. Josh, the 87 machine out in front, did not elect to come down to the pit lane at all. So he's our provision leader at the moment. So not a lot of strategy in the aspect that guys taking different swing of tires. Everybody that got service done took 4. But interesting to see if these guys up front are just staying out for the time being, intentionally to pit late and drop back, or if they actually want to stay up there.
Yeah, definitely you got to come in and take 4. It's this track is very hard on tires, as Andy was pointing out down there on pit road, and I'm not real sure what they're really thinking. Could be going for a pit strategy here. I don't know. It's kind of early in the race. It looked like Matt Quick is going to dug down into the pit road, as well as Shane McKeachin. His teammate, the 87 of Ray Rittenauer, stays out. So I'm not sure if he really wanted to take the penalty. As you know, if you don't come down the first or second time, you'll get a penalty if you come down after that. So Ray Rittenauer looks like he's going to stay out to lead some laps and to go green here. I'm not sure, Evan, if that's the greatest idea. Last season at this race, it was the first time we really talked about it, but 2 tires or no tires is going to be a lot of wheel spin here. So I'm not really sure for that 10 truck of Josh Hanner, Mark Jorgensen. You might have a little bit of issue here coming to the green.
And I expected those 2 that came down the pit road to do so because, as you said, if you roll through pit road the first time, you can still pit at the 1-to-go signal, not get penalized. We see that a lot on Tuesday nights at the Pro Series. Timmy Hill rolls down pit road and he's able to get service completed at the 1-to-go to the restart. But the 87 Rittenauer, again, never came down. So I'm feeling like he was completely content with the idea of leading this restart. The question is if that's a logical move or not. We'll find out. He'll be in front of the field at lap 14. It puts Chiburko second and third, Pileski fourth. And Mark Jorgensen back inside the top 5, but he inside of row number 3 after starting back in 14th. From the back to the front, Ray Rittenauer to the American Ethanol Go Zone. First restart on the night, backing away in Atlanta. You see the tire spin. That truck just can't hook up. Top side, Chiburko gonna give him a run for his money down to turn number 1. Will be door to door though as the advantage swings back to the bottom.
That swings back to the bottom, but you got to like the fact that the 3 truck on the outside's got the 4 tires. Right now, it's not making a difference. Now as Rittenauer now drops to the apron, he decides to go to the back of the pack. So maybe a pretty smart move right there for the 87. Chiburko now assumes the lead. He's got the 10 though. Josh Hanner all over his rear bumper as they exit turn 4.
And Hanner looks high. The number 3 shuts the door. The 10 looks to the bottom of the racetrack. That door shut as well. So it's a game of cat and mouse in front of the field. Chiburko trying to hold off Josh Hanner behind 3 wide for third. Inside is Jorgensen. To the middle is Pileski. How about Casey Malone? Top side. He'll make it 3 wide down the back straightaway. The 10 comes up to pinch that door.
Oh!
There's contact. They're going to get tagged in turn number 3. And the big one at lap number 16. The 10 truck going to go up and over and wrecking violently is Josh Hanner. Caution flag is back out, and that one was ugly.
Wow, that was crazy. You just saw Hanner was trying to, I think he was trying to get an angle on Chiburko going into turn 3 there. And when he did, Pileski gave him no room at all and just tagged that left rear and sent that 10 into the wall. As you see the replay now, it took out quite a few trucks, at least involved. Might have been a little bit major damage, but got the 88. The 8 also in a big part of that wreck, 13 as well. Josh Hanner, unfortunately, season 1 champion, going to have to take a tow here and probably have to take a reset if he's got one.
And he's going to have to start his defense for that title in the negative after that one. And it was 3 wide behind, Andy. Interested to get your opinion on this one because we saw Pileski in the middle. The 10 moved up, looking like he was actually trying to get, if not to the outside of Chiburko, but to get an arc. We'll take a look on board with the 23 for this one. Got a pretty good front row view of the action. but the 10 comes back down over the nose of the 93. I don't think it would necessarily be Pileski's responsibility there to back off for the 10 machine.
No, probably not. But you know what the problem is that for the 10, and I know how the spotter works in this pretty well, and I think that for Hanner, what it was is that it was probably telling him somebody was inside, but honestly, he probably thought it was the 3, so he thought he probably had that middle lane wide open, and for Hanner, the middle lane wasn't wide open. Pileski had nowhere he could go. He couldn't drop to the bottom. The 88 was there. He couldn't go high because Malone was there. So really, just flat out, maybe just missed the mark right there, and maybe hearing your spotter that you had somebody inside, he just probably assumed it was the 3 truck and that nobody else was there. And when he started to move down a little bit, it didn't take much, make some contact, and some heavy damage for a lot of guys coming into that one. Couple that snuck through as we saw the replay on board with 23 of Haggerty, and also the 088 of Ken Connolly made it through all that, was able to slow right down and avoid that 10 truck that was flipping there in the corner.
I always say that very rarely do we see accidents where it's 2 guys that are on each other's door that hit each other. It's always that little bit of staggering, and as you guys mentioned, quite a few drivers going to be involved in that accident. Going to bridge us to quarter distance by the time we get this one back underway. So far, 5 drivers have fallen off of the lead lap. Jose Ramirez getting the wave by. Josh Hanner as well. 1 lap down, did Osborne. 2 to the negative. Peterson is 5 back. Ron Thompson is 8 back, and indeed Ron Thompson going to be the first DNF on the evening, but still 22 drivers on the lead lap with a couple of wait bys. We're going to find ourselves with about 25 or 26 with the next restart, and just like that, Brandon Chaburko finds himself back in front of the field. No surprise that he's found himself back there somehow, some way, and he'll be right back on the point for the second time. We'll take a green flag off of a caution flag tonight. The bad news comes for all of the guys that are pit sod, because I don't believe we have quick fixes anymore in the Season 2 rules package, which means that those guys that got really torn up have a lot of damage to get fixed if they elect to get it all repaired, if not just completely sidelining them for the rest of the race.
Yeah, Evan, and the actual rules update, I just wanted to go over them real quick, is I thought there was a quick repair. At Daytona and Talladega, there will be allowed 1 quick repair, but every other race this season will be 0. So last week, a couple of guys, everybody thought there was quick repair. So that might have still been everybody's mind, not checking over the rules consistently, or at least officially looking at them. So, tonight, a couple of guys on pit road, unfortunately. We got Josh Hanner, Ryan Pilon down there as well, Dana Osborne, Christian Peterson. A lot of those guys are probably have a lot of damage or are going to be done for the night. It looked like Hanner's truck was almost blown up, so real interesting to see if he has anything left. So, but as we're getting ready to go back green here, Evan, we got everybody lined up. Casey Malone, Brandon Chaburko going to lead us down to the restart here. Still 3 of those Chicken Wing Motorsports still up front. Actually 4 with Mark Jorgensen on the outside. So it should be quite interesting to see if they can hold all the rest of the field.
And we will have 24 total trucks on the lead lap. Both chasing, though. Brandon Chaburko in front. And then we mentioned Malone, Pileski, Jorgensen. Biggest movers so far. Just behind is Jared Haggerty in 6th spot. That Icon machine got through the accident. He's gone from 23rd to 6th. So far to this point, he's gotten around 17 drivers. Pace car going to get down out of the way. Chaburko can go when he wants into the American Ethanol Go Zone. Green flag flies for the flag stand. Back and away. And second time in a row, the outside with a better jump. It's Casey Malone, but not enough of a pull to get clear in turn number 1. That means Chaburko going to drive back hard up the inside of the racetrack. And now the inside has the advantage. The 93 plastered to the deck lid, and that 93 of Pileski wants the lead. They'll push down the backstretch.
Pretty good push right there. That'll allow Chaburko to clear Casey Malone. Now Pileski's got a fight with Casey Malone side by side right now as everything starts to heat up. Rodney Wofford now coming into the mix, started in the 13th spot all the way up to that 4th spot right now, battling with those 2 right in front of him. Pileski still on the inside though. Malone can't quite seem to get around him. He does it right there. Pileski now up to that 2nd spot. The battle for 3rd is side by side down the back straightaway.
And in the opening run of this race, Pileski stayed glued to the back bumper of Brandon Chiburko, but he did so there to follow that 3-car through, make sure that he was able to get up to second. Now behind him, the 088 machine, Kent Connolly, all out of shape in turn 4, the Tide Chevrolet, out in the grass after he got moved to the apron by the 83 machine. A little bit of physical racing that time through the corner after he nearly got involved in an accident with Ramon Evans. He'll regain the handle. He'll jump back up on track. It's going to cost him a lot of time. I know we talk about a lot the draft at a track like this. Oh, contact, Malone, Wofford. Everybody's stacking up in 3 and 4. To the apron goes Kenny Holderman. They're going to wreck in turn 4.
Oh,
there
that's
they go.
it.
Altman's hard hit into the 83. Caution is back out.
Yeah, and it just looked like that was a big cluster there. It
Never
really
ending
started.
wreck. They almost saved it a
exactly.
couple of times.
I know, and it was really, the start was, I think Casey Malone just got a little bit out of shape behind Pileski, and everybody just started checking up, and unfortunately the 51 of Riot, as you see the replay coming up, Altman's, the 51, got into the back of the number 31 of Kenny Holderman, and that's really what caused the wreck to finally come all around, and a couple cars, the trucks involved, and it could have been a lot worse, though. That 52 and 7 could have went around and taken out the whole field.
It was a relatively small accident, truck number-wise, but it was a hard lick nonetheless for the number 51 Geek Squad entry. Jason Altman's heavily damaged in that exchange after he finally got turned around by the 31 and the innocent victim, and that was the 83 of Ramon Evans, who smoked him coming into the first leg of that dog leg. So the caution flag back out, leaders back down pit road, with the exception of Jorgensen. He stays out in front. Chiburko, though, is in.
Yeah, Chiburko going to come down again, take advantage of. I like the strategy coming down pit road under the caution flag. You take advantage of not really losing much time, and it's only going to be losing seconds, or excuse me, spots instead of seconds out on the racetrack. So I always think it's a smart move, especially at a track like this, how rough it is for these guys to come in. But I noticed something, Evan, about the 52 of Casey Malone there. It seems like, and I'm not sure, I mean, everybody's got a different racing style, but if you watch him over the course of this race and over the course of this first part of the race, I noticed that it seems like his truck's a lot slower about the center of the corner. And it's about probably the third or fourth time we've seen the field really get stacked up behind him, especially going into turn number 3. And that exactly, I think, was the main reason we had that last caution right there. If we can look back on on a replay or something like that at some point, you can see that it just like kind of checks up. Wofford hits into the back of him just a little bit, but then everything snowballs right behind him. So I'm going to keep an eye on that 52 here as we go along, but it just seems like something's just not quite right with that 52, and he's having to slow up just a little bit more than everybody else going into these corners.
At a track where the speeds are obviously up there, it's a track that there's not normally a lot of variance in what the driver can do with it. If we're talking about a multi-groove track, which Atlanta to some description fits that bill, but if you're talking about some of the slower tracks, some of the tracks that require a lot more braking, a lot more finesse possibly, there's a lot of different ways drivers can approach it per lap, Josh. At a track like Atlanta, where for a good part of it, you're not really letting off the loud pedal at all, how much variance can you see driver to driver from their lines?
Definitely we're seeing there, it looked like Malone was just driving it in harder and then not getting the drive in the middle of the corner. I think that's what really ultimately got that wreck happening, because, if he's driving in further than Pileski, he's going to start checking up, and then the 7 and so on, so back. So, everybody's got a different line here. And that outside works, the inside works. I'm surprised we haven't seen more people, go into the outside already. But I'm sure later in the race, if we have a long green run, people will try to go up there, get maybe some more grip. But as everybody gets ready back for this restart, Mark Jorgensen sitting out front. He's still got a heavy damaged Chevrolet after that one wreck a couple of laps ago with Josh Hanner, so I'm not real sure what his strategy is, but he could have came in and got some fixed. But he said, "No, never mind, I'm just going to stay out here and try to lead. But he's still got a beat-up truck.
And normally, speed does not go well when you're talking about damage on a truck, especially at a very fast track. So it will be interesting to see how the Tracker Boat Chevrolet navigates this next run. Wouldn't be entirely surprised to see him just drop to the apron at a turn 2, which we've seen quite a lot of drivers do so far, to get up front, lead a couple of laps, get back out of the fray. But he will be the control truck for this restart. Behind him, the 28, the 32, the 3, and a 93 make up your top 5, and in Malone, Wofford, Haggerty, Dahl, and Hooks through the top 10. Pace car going to make that sharp left-hand turn and get out of the way. Jorgensen on the inside, going to be in control at a turn 4. We'll put 27 laps in the books. We'll put lap number 28 into the works. Green flag back in the air at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Again, though, outside, a little bit of a better jump, a little bit less tire spin. The top 6, though, all over each other in turn number 1. Advantage going to go to the bottom. Jorgensen powering through. He's got to push all the way through to Merchant on the bumper.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen Seth the Merchant up here towards the front, starting at 17th spot right now, sitting in that 3rd right now, trying to give Jorgensen that push. Mikicha, though, on that outside, doing a great job hanging tough with him right now as Chaburko's all over his bumper, giving him a push. Pileski's the one that looks like he wants to go somewhere, maybe make it 3 wide. The Merchant a little loose right there as they went through the travel, maybe it touched the grass just a bit right there, but that's going to shake things up in the front. They almost made contact there. Chaburko right in the midst of all this right now, so they're 3 wide off 2.
And at 3, Chaburko made a move to the inside. It almost came across the nose to Seth the Merchant. They're 3 wide for 3rd. They're 2 wide for the race lead in front. Jorgensen bottom side, Mikichin top side. The outside gonna have the advantage, coming powering off of turn number 4. Gonna use all that banking to his advantage. Is it enough to get clear for the top spot? Not quite. And now he'll slide up to a 3rd lane, middle lane, wide open. Here comes Chaburko. Is the room off of turn 2? No, the 88 shuts the door.
Man, I don't know how freaking Jorgensen's still out there, guys. He's got a banged up truck. Everybody behind him's got new tires. I don't know how he's been able to hold that spot. As it looks like he's starting to fall now as McKeechin goes past. Pileski on the bottom. Brandon Chaburko's going to go down there as well. Here comes Seth the Merchant and Casey Malone all over the back of that 88. Looks like he's starting to fall back now. Unfortunately, that damage just isn't very good for this track.
Yeah, now you gotta wonder if that 88 dropping back, as you mentioned, are the floodgates open now as he starts to really slide, and on the outside of the racetrack, not really hold it off as competitively, the guys like Chaburko and the 52 and Malone to the bottom side. So now 3 drivers gonna be able to break through of that number 88 and now make it 4. It's Pileski out in front, McKeechin 2nd, Chaburko 3rd, and then Casey Malone, and now as well Seth the Merchant inside of the top 5. Interesting, though, what that 28 machine's doing, and we talk about different lines. Well, McKeechin was single file for 2nd, but he took a really high line in 1 and 2, just like he's doing here in 3 and 4, way up the track as well. It's costed him spots.
It is, and maybe he's either one of 2 things right now: is the truck's just not handling correctly, or he's trying to save something for later in the run. So we'll keep an eye on that 28 as things move on here, but he's can continue to lose the spots. He's battling hard on the outside. Gets a decent run right now. Pulls up next to Seth the Merchant as they go back into turn. Oh, and he makes contact with the wall there in the entrance of the corner. That safer barrier really juts out of the racetrack right there, and sometimes they can catch you by surprise. I think it did right there for Shane.
And look at the 13, Kelly Dahl tried to look to the inside on Jorgensen. That door was shut. He's got to back off. And now swooping to the inside of him goes the 75 Todd Chevrolet, Josue Ramirez from 24th on the grid. Ramirez, Dahl, as well as Ferguson and Hooks, they all run 1, 2, 3, 4 back here just around P10 or so. They're all in line. All started outside of the top 24 in this race. They've been working together to get up through the field, and just behind James Pileski, starting to pull away a little bit from Brandon Chaburko, who sits in 3rd, but Seth the Merchant's number 32 machine now to 3rd after starting 17th, and it's looking like everybody kind of migrating up the hill, searching for grip as more rubber is laid down. Battle going to be for 4th spot, and it's Haggerty to the inside on Malone, and in front, Seth the Merchant not satisfied yet. He wants runner-up spot. He'll take it away from the 3 truck.
Yeah, surprisingly, that 32 actually only took 2 tires on the last stop, so he's able to save his tires a lot, or Everybody else is just going slower. I don't know, but the crossover move here as Brandon Chaburko gets back under that 32. Now he's taking the Shane McKeachin line on the outside as Seth the Merchant. They're coming up on a lat truck. I'm not sure how this is going to work.
3 wide.
Oh, 3 wide. But everybody's able to go around Christian Peterson there as Seth the Merchant now uses that as an advantage and gets around Brandon Chaburko and gets him clear by a truck lane.
And I think DeMerchant lucked out the fact that it was his teammate there, so I'm sure they were communicating on the radio, but they cut it pretty close off the corner. We went 3 wide to get around it. No major problems ensue. How about James Pulaski and Seth the Merchant, though? 0.4 of a second apart from each other right now. We're seeing if that 32 can indeed make up that gap in a battle for the top spot behind him, where the fight is now contact. Oh, Brandon Chaburko, Jared Haggerty, the number 23, gonna give him a shot down the back, another shot in turn number 3. Not a lot of friendship going on between the Good Wrench Chevy and the Nikon Toyota. Physical for third, and all of that beating and banging going to cost Haggerty, who had all the momentum a lot of time, because now Casey Malone opens up the inside, ducks to the bottom.
Yeah, he does duck to the bottom right now. Haggerty trying to gain his composure back up after he slipped up just a bit there, making the contact with the 3 last time in turn number 3. Haggerty, though, able to get around Malone now, give him back that spot in that 4 spot right now. Malone doing a great job, but here comes Wofford now to the outside, looking to the outside right now. He's got a nose in there as Malone. He's slowly starting to fall backwards just a bit right here, but that high side's looking pretty handsome up there on the top right now for the 3 and the 23. They're doing a good job using that outer lane.
Now I want to see that 23 get back to him. Jared Haggerty went in that last time with some intent at Chaburko. And the battle is 1 second off of the race lead. Still no plus or minus really amongst the 93 and the 32, who continue to run just shy of half a second apart from each other. But all the excitement for sure is for the number 3 spot. And Haggerty started 23rd. He's digging to get up to 4th where he sits right now. Chaburko, a very different story, started on pole for tonight's race and is indeed -2 to where he sits at the moment. But inside of the top 10, I mentioned a couple of names. Just 3 drivers in the top 10 right now started inside the top 10. They're Pulaski, Chaburko, and Malone. I want to look just outside the top 6 or so. As I mentioned, Jose Ramirez, Kelly Dahl, Daniel Ferguson all started 24th, 27th, 25th. They're running 7th, 8th, and 9th right now. So a couple of early yellows, a little bit of strategy, and a couple of fast trucks can do you a lot of good.
Yeah, that battle that was going on earlier between Haggerty and Chaburko is definitely not all. You could see that one coming. As you know, last season we had a pretty distinctive amount of teams. It was a lot of different teams last season. You had a lot of, multiple teams. Everybody's out there trying to do their own thing. But this year, it's kind of with the new charter system. It's kind of evolved into 3 big teams. You got JR Motorsports that's pretty much headed up by Rod Flagg and Joshua Hanner. Chicken Wing Motorsports, which has got 2 previous champions, Brandon Chaburko and Frank Busiala. And you also have the 3rd, which there's 3 big teams out there. And it's really all down to those right now, those guys. And as we got caution on the speedway, I'm not sure, Evan, I didn't see where it was.
Caution's out. It's on the front straightaway, and it is Mark Jorgensen Jr., the number 88 Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. Turned around off the corner, and he was in 11th spot when he ran out of racetrack. Just drove it high in 4, got sideways, broke loose, and spun into the grass. He locked up 4 Goodyear Wranglers, kept it out of the fence, but it is a single car spin to bring out the 3rd caution on the night. That simmers down the battle inside the top 5 for a moment as we take a second look.
Yeah, well, we try to take a second look right there of the 88, but yeah, you talk about just more. We're just past the halfway point at this point of this race, so it's crunch time for a lot of these guys at this point, and for a lot of these guys that have been up to the front all night long, and I'm talking guys like the 93 of Pulaski, who started on the outside of the front row. He's sitting in that top spot. I mean, everything has gone right for him. The 3, and then you got hard chargers like Seth the Merchant and the 23 of Haggerty. Pit road's open for the leaders, and it looks like most of them will come in and take advantage of this caution flag, get their 4 tires, get some fuel. I'm not sure if we'll see some guys try the 2 tires because it has worked for some of these guys. The 32 was one of those that was able to make that happen, though, coming into their pit boxes. I expect all of them to take 4 tires, but I'm sure there's going to be somebody that'll try something different.
Pulaski going to be the first driver in, and Brandon Jaburko slots up to the number 1 pit stall after getting pole just in front. We'll see who wins the race off of the pit lane. So far, 4 tires for the guys at the front of the field, and the race for the lead off. Number 1 pit stall, enough to get the job done. Jaburko going to take the top spot back, and that's why getting a good qualifying spot, most importantly, that number 1 pit stall, going to pay you 2 dividends all night long. However, in front of all of that, it is Matt Quick's number 89 Chevrolet staying out and taking the race lead at lap 45 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Past halfway, we're counting down in round 2 with the RODDCAR Truck Tour Season 2 campaign, the Atlanta 200. Beginning to get down to crunch time here this evening, so we'll take a quick opportunity under this 3rd caution flag to take a quick yellow of our own. We'll step away and be right back for the restart. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the RODDCAR Truck Tour at iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series on iRacing Live. Back for the restart in just a moment.
Grab your share of the over $1,200 purse in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona Speedweeks now through February 20th, 2016. We are raising money to help Laura battle cancer. 100% of all donations go directly to Laura's GoFundMe medical fund. All 43 drivers in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona 300 get paid. Mark your calendar. The 6 Race Your Way In qualifying races to be held the next 3 weekends, January 29th and 30th, February 5th and 6th, and February 12th and 13th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Password required. Are you the fastest and best at Daytona? Prove it as LSRTV broadcasts live the Daytona 300 Saturday, February 20th, 2016. Register and donate at Domino'sTYJRacing.com. Look for the green ribbon. $5 minimum donation required. Thank you for your help.
Dropping 81, yo, I dropped the 88. Ricky Bobby shaking back.
And back live at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Lights off on top of the pace car. We are set to go back under green flag racing conditions. Just 3 laps shy of the lap 50 mark, as we'll take lap 48 when we go green flag racing once again. At another interesting strategy call, 4 tires for everybody on the pit lane. We followed that through before we stepped away. Brandon Jaburko won the race off of the pit lane with 4 tires and fuel in front of James Pulaski. He'll take the number 2 spot for the restart. Pulaski going to take the number 3 spot because Matt Quick stays out to take over the race lead. How long he stays up there, we don't know. We've seen the strategy play already once by the 89 machine to stay out on a restart and then drop to the back once we roll down the back. But he will be in front and in control for the restart, Andy, as we head to turn 4.
Yeah, he will. Somewhere we talked about. I talked to him earlier tonight. Actually, he was pretty excited about how last week went for him. A couple podium finishes for him last week. So looking to continue to do that tonight, and he'll get the chance right now to lead the field back to the green flags. The pace car hits the pit road. Green flag back in the air. Matt Quick on the gas pedal. Brandon Jaburko, decent run on the outside. We've seen that all night long. They're side by side, racing back into turn number 1.
And a push going to go to the bottom side. It is Pulaski all over Quick, trying to help him through. And just like that, the 89 pops open, a truck length advantage off the corner. Now does Matt Quick stay out and fight? Does he drop down and surrender? He'll wave the white flag and drop to the back, pick up some more bonus points. He's satisfied with that, and it makes the battle for the lead. Now it was the battle for second. So side by side in turns 3 and 4 we go. And it is pushing up. Pulaski not quite clear, though, on Brandon Jaburko. I thought for a moment, Josh, that 3 might have been setting him up for a crossover, but Jaburko likes the outside lane. He'll stick it up there.
Yeah, a lot of guys are actually staying up there right now, so it'll be interesting to see as we say that. Seth the Merchant looks to the inside of Brandon Chaburko off a turn 2. He's got a pretty decent run, but the 3 has a draft off that 93 of Pileski. But I guess it wasn't enough. That 32 is going to get it done on the bottom, coming off a turn 4. Up, just not clear. He's going to stay down there. He's going to look to the lead, hope possibly here in turn 1.
And that 93 going to shut the door on the inside. So no room for Seth the Merchant to come through on the inside. The Peabody Design Chevrolet will, though, jump up in line and run in the number 2 spot. And he's got Chaburko all over the bumper. Don't think that Goodwrench Chevrolet has any intentions of dropping back anytime soon. But the handle going away on that number 3 truck sideways. That time off of turn 4 was Brandon Chaburko, and it is Pileski and DeMerchant opening up a very small advantage for the time being, as the battle for the race lead now becomes a battle of 2. DeMerchant with a big run to the inside. Pileski tried to shut the door, couldn't do it. Side by side in 3.
He thought about the block didn't work. The Merchant now towers his move in turn number 3, takes over the race lead. James Pileski now, though, on the bottom, looking to gain some momentum back off of turn number 4. It's about a truck and a half car length lead right now off of the back bumper right now. The Merchant, though, is going to fall back up into about that middle groove right now, trying to keep that momentum going. These trucks love momentum, and that's exactly what he's trying to do right there. Continuing with about a truck to 2 truck length lead right now into turn number 3. Chaburko falling off like we just mentioned a moment ago, had some trouble coming off of turn number 2. Got a little sideways. That's lost him a lot of track position right now as far as truck length here. He sits 3rd still, but he's got Wofford all coming right now in a hurry, along with the 23 of Haggerty.
Yeah, Haggerty's digging it behind these guys in the number 5 spot, and soon he'll be in a spot again where it may be he and Chaburko duking it out for the number 3 spot. In the meantime, though, the number 7 Wofford is in between them, running in the number 4 position. Still nothing in front of the field as DeMerchant continues to stretch out the gap amongst him and Pileski, and Chaburko slides back another 10th up to your race leader as well. But at 23, Michelle, I'll tell you what, Jared Haggerty started 23rd. He's made a couple of charges up through the field, but that Nikon Toyota looks really sporty.
Yeah, one of the JR Motorsports Chevrolets up there, running the best out of all his teammates tonight. Ryan Keese the closest to him in 16th position. Fortunately, Josh Hanner out of the race. But yeah, Jared Haggerty has been running really good. Started P23, as you said. He has run all the way up through the field, and you've seen him challenge as he's going to P number 4 right now around Rodney Wofford on the bottom side. He's looking for that 3 truck again. I'm sure there's no love lost there, so it'd be interesting to see what happens here shortly.
Yeah, we remember last time they found each other, there was a couple of exchanges of contact as they went down the back straightaway. Let's see if we get that again. First, he's got to catch him. You get clear, a little bit of pocket of clean air, now you got to go get it, but Chaburko actually looking like he's starting to mount a charge towards James Pileski in front. You see Chaburko up again, rather in front of him, it's old Seth the Merchant, the 32, right up against the fence, all the way around. He's rim riding in turns 1 and 2. Pileski's still on the middle lane, and it actually worked out better for the 93 machine because he made up some time. You'll go on board with Seth the Merchant. You think he's at Kansas in 1 and 2, you'll see how close he gets.
Yeah, he's actually pulling away significantly right now. 3/10 was the last time by. This time another 10th added to his race lead right now. Now he drops back down to the bottom. So just as we said he was running to the top, he goes to the bottom side of the racetrack now. See, he's just basically at this point, I think he's just searching for which line's going to be the faster one, which one's going to give him the most speed, especially as the laps start to click away.
And you got to feel it out, obviously, because if we break into a longer green flag stretch compared to anything else that we've seen so far tonight, you know that the track and your truck are going to handle very differently. So you got to experiment with it. And if you're in a spot that has clean air, and it's the case for Seth the Merchant in front of the field, why not? Because you still got a little bit of a gap to work with. But that comfort zone's starting to shrink because Pileski wheeling him back in just as the 32 started to pull away. The 93 comes right back into the action. For the most part, the field that is still 21 drivers deep on the lead lap with about 25 still on the racetrack total of the 30 that started this race. Ride mostly single file as we go right now, and the top 10 separated through 4 seconds, but the top 5 still within 9/10 of your leader, so there's still plenty of action up top side, but it is Seth the Merchant from 17th on the grid, holding on to the lead. Pileski runs exactly where he started. That's P2. He's there, though, mounting a charge. Peeks to the inside. Not this time, but he's latched on now and ready to do something.
Yeah, Pileski was almost 2/10 faster that last lap. He was at a 30.192. This lap, 30.292. As the Merchant was way slower. Now, as you see, Pileski to the bottom off of turn 2. Does he have the run down the backstretch? No. The outside is going to prevail as Seth the Merchant still stays as leader for now. But Pileski's been coming, and I think he's got a faster truck right now. Might have not used up as much tires on that restart.
Yeah, and he's there. The question is, you catch somebody, it is a lot harder to make the pass in comparison to when you get to them. Getting down to the end of this one, though, next time by 22 laps to go from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. DeMerchant way up against the wall. Pileski likes to dive to the inside. It works in the corner. Difference is you got DeMerchant running off of about 24 degrees of banking topside, powering down the backstretch, as opposed to that 93 who's kind of slotted up the hill. Seth the Merchant may have figured out a good combination. Low in 3 and 4, high in 1 and 2 is what he's doing right now.
Yeah, so far it's actually working for him right now. The 3 truck also coming back into the picture. He's actually riding that high side all the way around this place, and he's been able to catch back up to James Pileski here for that second spot. Jared Haggerty, who was running 4th, had some problems there the last time through 1 and 2. Looks like he might have hit the wall because he's lost a couple spots now. Rodney Wofford able to get around him. Casey Malone, Daniel Ferguson, and now Mark Jorgensen Jr. now able to get around the 23. So problems for Haggerty.
And not good news for the 23 machine. We were talking about how he was looking quite sporty. Now caution flag is out, and we'll slow him down for a final restart inside of the final 20. And the problems are for the 94, I believe. Frank Basilia may be the driver involved in this one, and he is. It is the 24 and the 94 involved. And how about the ride? Ryan Keese up and over at the start-finish line after we went 3 wide in 4. Looked like McKeechin bobbled and saved it, and then, well, Ryan Keese got took out by the 94 after they were both trying to get around that and recovered in that 24. He got smoked at the start-finish line.
Yeah, I just think that Frank didn't see him. Really, I don't think that Frank saw him coming. And you'll go on board the 24. It looks like Frank just, like I said, didn't think that Keese was going to be down there after, the 28 of McKeechin got sideways. Frank just came down and was like, up, and the 24 up and over just rolls multiple times. And as you see that on board, that is one heck of a ride, Evan.
And that will most likely end the night as well for Ryan Keese. He'll take the virtual tow down to the pit lane. Leaders are coming down, Andy, down in front of us for what could be the final time tonight. We'll let him go with about 17 laps to go in this race. Seth the Merchant in front wants to retain that number 1 spot off of pit road. He's down in the stall 17.
Yeah, first one to come to his box right there. Slid in right in front of Jason Altman's right there. He's going to take 4 tires. It looks like he got 4 tires for that 32 truck. We'll see where he ends up, see if anybody tries to take a gamble here and only take 2 on this round of pit stops. It looks like so far so good for the 32. He's able to beat everybody off of pit road. So everyone decided to take 4 tires. Seth the Merchant leading them all off.
Yeah, the 32 comes down P1. He'll come off P1. And to be in the lead for what could be the final restart on the night from Atlanta, we'll step away one final time and go LSRTV non-stop. But it is going to be Seth the Merchant, the P-Money Designs Chevrolet, off of the pit lane. He'll be in control inside of the iRacing.com. 20 to go at Atlanta. We'll race it out to the checkered flag in the Atlanta 200 for the RODDCAR Truck Tour on iRacing Live at LSRTV. Back in a moment. The lights are off on top of the American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT pace car, who paces the field at 65 miles an hour in turns 3 and 4. Gonna get down out of the way and leave that 32 set the Merchant in control for what could be the final restart on the night at Atlanta. He'll be joined by Pileski, Malone, Wofford, Jorgensen inside the top 5. The pace car gives way. Green flag in the air into the American Ethanol restart zone and back underway at Atlanta. Across the start-finish line, top side a small advantage. It's Pileski at the stripe by 4/100ths of a second. Inside as we get up to the gears at full song. Gonna get the advantage though, and it's Demerchant out in front of the mess behind for second.
Yeah.
Didn't that
Yeah.
Look at Chaburko go. I mean, this guy week in and week out just amazes me. Pushing the issues. McKeechin there having some problems there, making contact. It looked like with the 17 of Matt Bontempi and.
Oh, as we're going, everybody's starting to single file out here and down into turn 3, and everybody's starting to get single file out. Just as I said, Rodney Wofford's on the outside, Chubb's pushing him down the straightaway. Mark Jorgensen still got that amount of damage, and he's trying to hold on to the top 5, but it looks like Chubb's will probably get it done here off of turn 2.
And at 3, gonna have the run back at his advantage, and he'll power down the back stretches and enough to get clear of Jorgensen. Not quite. Interesting to mention because, again, we mentioned actually earlier in the night that 88 machine of Jorgensen got a fair amount of damage, and he actually led this race for a couple of laps with the damage that he's still kind of working with at the moment. Not enough speed, though, to hold off Chubb, so he'll fall back to 6th spot, the top 6, and now top 10. Our single file at the moment. Battle for the race lead. Here comes Casey Malone, the 52. Gonna move set the Merchant up and out of the groove. Duck to the inside. We will go door to door for the top spot at lap 71. Pileski wants a piece of the pie. He's into the mix as well. It's a 3-truck battle for the lead. This time by at 12 laps to go.
Yeah, set the Merchant on the outside. Just kind of hoping that these guys maybe mix it up a little bit more. He goes way high right now in turns 1 and 2. Pileski hits the apron a little bit right there. He's got to slide up and almost makes contact with 32. The Merchant, I know he had to let off just a little bit right there. That would have been big problems right there. Now Pileski looking for the lead if turn number 4. He's to the inside of Malone.
And if they stay side by side for long and that 32, the Merchant can get back to him. Don't expect him to play nice either. 10 to go. Next time by the start-finish line. And Pileski not enough to hold the inside lane to Casey Malone, who is now trying to run away with this race. Meanwhile, we're getting physical for seconds. Seth the Merchant all over the bumper of Pileski, down at a 2, all the way down the back and into turn number 3. 93's on the apron. Pileski sideways. He'll hang on as he drops to the apron. He'll lose a lot of speed. We got the 87 in the grass. Everybody is able to get through somehow, but Pileski will drop outside the top 9.
Yeah, I don't know how he was able to hold on to that, but that has opened up a half a second lead for teammate Casey Malone. He's pulled out on Rodney Wofford, which now surprisingly is in the top 3, right behind Seth the Merchant. Brandon Chaburgo still trying to pedal it, but that's a good lead for here coming down with the last 10 laps to go. I don't know if anybody can catch them. They got to dig if they're going to do it, as the lead has opened up to 0.6.
0.6 of a second, and going the 52 though, a little bit sideways in turn number 1. You don't have to give Rodney Wofford much for him to jump on it and take it, and that 7 machine, within the second of each other between him and Malone up front, is still well in contention to battle for this checkered flag. Casey Malone needs to not worry about those guys behind him though, but you can't overdrive the truck either. And the 88 machine into the outside wall in turn number 4. Jorgensen ran out of room for the second time tonight, and again, it happens in turn 4. He smacks the wall. He's lost all his speed now up on the outside, ran mid 1 and 2. Pretty heavy damage for the Tracker Boat Chevrolet. Effectively ends his night just 7 laps shy of the end.
Yeah, not what Jorgensen needed after the season last year that he had in the first race of the season, not going his way either. Running good all night up there in the front, even with the damage. So pretty good run for him. He's going to fall short though here as the lead, or the battle for the lead, is going to start shaping up here in another lap or so. Or Wofford, he's I'm talking about the battle for the second spot. Actually, was set the Merchant starting to close in. I forgot Casey Malone was way out in front of everybody here. Got a pretty sizable lead at a half a second. The gap is closing up just a bit. Maybe the draft helping these two guys in the second and third right now. Wofford, though, he's going to have his hands full with the Merchant as they head back to 1.
And they're digging in. That 32 machine is Seth the Merchant on the outside of the racetrack. Rodney Wofford on the bottom. Again, Seth's been up topside for quite some time. Next time by, going to be 5 laps to go. Chaburko way down, halfway to the inside wall. I think he can.
Keach, unfortunately, he just, it seems like he probably lost it.
Yeah, turn 4, he got sideways. It looked like a very similar spot to where we saw the problem happen a little bit earlier on for the 88 machine of Jorgensen, where he had a self-spin. Turn 4, brakes sideways, spins it out. He goes down to the grass, and again, the caution flag will come out, and I believe with that dropping at lap number 79 that will end this race. We will take a look, though. 83 laps on the board. This time by, we will take lap 81. 3 laps to go. If the drivers get the 2 to go, they're still going to have an opportunity to race this one out. No official word yet. We'll have to wait till the next time by. And if the lights go off, it means that this race will have a restart. If the lights stay on, we will not. But I think based on what we're hearing over the driver radio channel, it is going to be the end of this race. So that means Casey Malone going to be going to RODDCAR victory lane.
And get himself his first ever career RODDCAR Truck Tour win. Pretty cool for him. Get himself a trophy here. He ran a pretty good race. Been up front all night long. We talked about it. He was able to start in that 5th spot. And he pretty much ran in the top 5 all night long. Slid back a little bit here and there, but when it counted and when it mattered the most, he was able to take that lead away off that most recent restart there. And Casey Malone pulled out just far enough, and Wofford, the veteran, just wasn't able to run him down. And Casey Malone looks like, as long as he can make it around, and we've seen weirder things happen, but as long as he can make it back around a couple more times here, we'll get 2 to go this time. But Casey Malone looking good for his first win.
So we'll get the official / unofficial word this time by at the start-finish line. 2 laps to go behind the pace car. The lights will stay on. So we'll take the white flag the next time by. Just 3 miles. That is slow to pace. Casey Malone going to be tonight's big winner for round 2 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Not the way that I'm sure he would have liked to have to do it, but he will take it either way, Josh. And a strong run for the driver that started inside the top 5. And for the most part was inside the top 5 for a lot of the night, but really wasn't in the lead for a lot. He's peaked at the right time, and a caution flag helps out his hopes, because I'll tell you, Rodney Wofford, he may not have gotten...
It was like, I'm going to show that Andy guy a lesson here. So yeah, definitely good run for Casey Malone. I actually think that could also be close to be contributed to his teammate Pileski, where he got spun off of turn 4, kind of a self-spin a little bit, that opened the gap for him, Malone, there with a couple laps to go. Able to keep it in front of Wofford and DeMerchant. So definitely a good win for Malone. Rodney Wofford, Seth DeMerchant also should be happy walking away with a top 3. Everybody pretty much in the top 5 should be pretty happy this week.
White flag is in the air, and we're in turns 1 and 2 for the final time. Casey Malone in front, trying to lock this one up. And I know that we always talk about Frank Basilia getting the W, and we have to go get myself a McFlurry. Well, there's Canes on the front of that 52, so that might give me another excuse.
What exactly is Canes, Evan?
Oh, you're
Chicken
deprived
fingers.
Then. Yeah, that's some good chicken fingers, sir.
Oh, 10-4. Yeah, I guess we don't have that kind of stuff up here in the eastern quadrant.
His sponsor, we'll ship some to you.
Hey, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, you should send them over here, too. Yeah, I'm up here in the
you don't
northeast.
have the other? Oh, there you go.
I know, Evan.
I'll be buying canes. I'll eat on everybody's behalf tonight. Casey Balone, well, he'll be celebrating as well. Turn 4 for the final time, and for the second week in a row is the first time RODDCAR Truck Tour Series winner. What a way to get the Season 2 schedule kicked off. So for the final time, he started 5th. He'll walk away atop. Casey Balone going to take the checker and the yellow winner at Atlanta.
Awesome win. Back-to-back weeks that we've had a first-time winner at RODDCAR. So Stephanie Lestine, a well-deserving win last week, and then Casey Malone backing it up for the first-time winners here. And what a way to start the second season off for the RODDCAR Truck Tour. And I'm pretty excited about it when you see these first-time winners stealing these wins away from a lot of these veterans. It's pretty cool to see.
And we got to see this series evolve in its first season. Again, wrapped up just 3 weeks ago. Because technically we were calling everybody first-time winners when they finally got the first truck winner. But there is a good group of core rookies on Friday nights in the RODDCAR Truck Tour. And later on tonight, we'll talk about it more on the iSuper Super Speedway Dakar Racing Series in depth as we get set for the iSuper Super Duel at Daytona in just about 45 minutes time right here on LSRTV. But Casey Balone going to celebrate on the front straightaway. So as he does so, we'll step away, take one final commercial break from Atlanta, Georgia, and we return. We'll talk to Malone. We'll talk to our top 30 finishers as well. Rodney Watford and Seth the Merchant come home on the podium. The post-race show on iRacing Live next. You're watching LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Well, we're back here live at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Just concluded the second race of the Season 2 championship in the RODDCAR Truck Tour. And down on pit road, I believe, with the third place finisher in tonight's race, we got Josh Ball down there with Seth the Merchant.
But Seth the Merchant, down here with you on pit road. That was a great number 3 finish. And, we saw you out there tonight doing a lot of good stuff. Your truck was all over the place. Saw you up to the front, to the back. Tell us how your race was.
Well, beginning we hung out for a while, kind of near the back because it was kind of hectic. And then towards the middle of the race, I did a pit call, just took gas, and we just hung on for about 10 laps till we got another caution on the old tires for track position. Got lucky with the caution, and then just got the lead. And then we got a bad caution. And yeah, I fell to like third there because James got on the apron in 3, got loose, and it made me
Yeah.
lose a lot of spots to Casey.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting night out there. Second, really the third time we've come with this new rules package where there is, fixed setups. Everybody was a lot closer, tighter together tonight. No crick repairs. I'm not sure if that surprised a couple people when we got a couple of DNFs, previous champion Hanner, Jason Altman's, couple of the regulars up to the front. What do you think about the new fixed setup so far? It's definitely a lot tighter racing. Is it more interesting to you, or you rather have a setup you'd be able to work on during the week and go out there with?
I like it a lot more because I don't really like testing at all. I like just being able to go into the race and everybody's on the same thing. And it kept the pack all grouped up, because there was a point in the race, I know, at the beginning of the race and then near the end, or basically the entire field was packed up together. It makes it a lot more fun to race, I think, and you don't have to worry about testing all week.
That's definitely the fact there. You brought that number 32 P Money Design Chevy home tonight, 6-man race team. Who else you got to thank before we let you go?
I just got to thank P Money Designs, Rod for putting on the league, and you guys for broadcasting. And I got to congratulate Casey on his first win in the league.
That again, there's Seth the Merchant saying thank you to Casey Malone. Good job tonight. I think Andy is down somewhere on the other end of pit road. I'm not sure if he's able to find second place Rodney Wofford. I know he's out there somewhere. Andy, you got a copy?
Yeah, I'm down here on pit road. I did catch up with the second place finish here tonight, Rodney Wofford. And Rodney, a pretty good race for yourself. Starting at 13th spot, you were able to battle your way up into finish the second spot. Just at the end there, just didn't seem like you had enough for you were catching them a little bit, but it seemed like it wasn't going to be enough even if we did stay green.
Yeah, I was just being conservative and saving just too much there. I should have pushed harder.
Well, pushing harder, second race of the season, you come home with the second place finish. Obviously a decent start for yourself for this championship run here. A little bit longer of a season than we saw last season. We talked about it in the pre-race show about taking advantage of these runs when you are up in the front and making sure you finish there. Guys like James Pileski had trouble there late after running basically in the top 5 all night long. But for a guy like you were able to capitalize on this. It wasn't a win, but at least you got up there. You got a good points night for yourself, and you definitely could save a mulligan for later on.
Yeah, most definitely. That was pretty much the goal was, to kind of, I guess, points race it, I guess you could say. Definitely wanted to win, but, Casey got it. Good win to him.
That he did, a first-time winner for the second week in a row. And is it a little intimidating as a veteran to the series that you see these newcomers coming in and a lot of first-time winners, it seems, as of late. Of course, last week, a first-time winner, and then again this week. Does that make it for you guys, for you veteran guys, more emphasis and having to push it now and reclaim, I would say, your throne?
I would say no. I mean, there's good drivers. They're here for a reason. They've won a race for a reason. So, I mean, in my opinion, no. But you could say, yeah, you might need to turn it up a little bit. But, they could just be quicker.
That it could be. The fixed setup is coming to effect, obviously, in this season. Your takes on it? Obviously, it keeps the racing a lot closer, I feel. Do you like it? Is that something that you liked as a rule package coming into this?
Not the actual fixed sets. They're just too tight for my taste. But, I mean, you got to do what we got to do with it.
Well, so far it has kept the racing pretty close, but we'll keep an eye on that as the season goes on, obviously. But Rodney, sponsor shout-outs. Who helps you get it done week in and week out?
Oh, I got to thank my parents, thank Rod, thank Hype, thank Teen Snow, Till Conrad, the Cowboy Greg Hooks, and got to thank Chris on the paints.
There you have it. Rodney Wofford, your second-place finisher here tonight at Atlanta. Congratulations again, Rodney. We'll see you in just a little bit of time here in the duels. There he was, your second-place finisher, Rodney Wofford. And for the second week in a row, we got a first-time winner here at the RODDCAR Truck Tour, and Evan is caught up with this week's winner.
That's right, we are caught up trackside with tonight's big winner at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Casey Malone going to walk away with the checkered flag here tonight in the Atlanta 200 for his first career RODDCAR Truck Tour Series victory. And Casey, congratulations to you. You started 5th. You were up there in the conversation all night long, and you broke through when it mattered the most late. Walk us through those late couple of restarts there that secured you this W.
Like Seth said, there was a good caution and then a bad caution, and then for me, another good caution. The people that I was running with, I think most of us were trying to save some tires in case we had a green flag run, but we didn't get lucky enough to have, I don't think, longer than 15 or 20 laps of green, so it never really came into play. Really, the cautions falling the way they did is what let me win.
We always talk about races being a combination of having some speed and then also having some luck, having a couple of things fall their way. Well, they definitely did so for you here tonight, but we're just now getting used to this truck series being on a fixed setup. Do you think that that's something that's helping you guys out or almost putting you at a disadvantage? Because Atlanta is a fast track. There was a lot of draft, and at times, you guys looked like you were at Daytona out there. I mean, there were huge, tight packs at times, which kept this race definitely nail-biting.
I personally like doing the fixed races because you don't have to put in time throughout the week to make setups. It becomes more about managing tires and saving your stuff and being a driver instead of spending hours and hours and hours making tweaks.
So now you get the first one out of the way, and the nagging question it always becomes, when's the next one going to come? Well, we're looking at a revamped and kind of amplified Season 2 schedule for the RODDCAR Truck Tour, now at 18 races, so 2 down, still 16 to go. There's plenty of time left for you to get a couple of more strong performances as well, put up a decent fight and a realistic fight for a championship in these trucks. Based on what you've gotten so far now, 2 weeks into the season, where would you assess you guys are at in that aspect?
I think we have a good shot, depending on how our luck falls. I think there's definitely a chance, really, for a lot of people. It's just about how lucky you can get with cautions and with wrecks.
Well, next week, we're going to be headed off to round number 3 on the 12th, as you and guys actually going to be joining an off week next Friday. I believe the IROC series going to be in effect. So no truck action, but the next truck race is going to be on the 12th of February, and it's going to be at Darlington for 91 laps. That's a pretty tricky racetrack. What are you guys going to be looking forward to into that race that you really didn't have to worry about here much tonight in Atlanta that could be a big factor in that race's effect?
I don't think we'll have to deal with as much pack racing there, so we should be able to spread out a little bit and hopefully get away from some people. You know, not everybody's not going to be bunched up right in one big pack.
We look forward to stretch out the legs, get some space to work with, and it's Darlington. It's always a classic racetrack to go to, and a very difficult one to go to as well on the sim. But Casey, tonight about you, winner at Atlanta. First career trip to victory lane in the RODDCAR Truck Tour. Sponsors and shoutouts, want to give you an opportunity to thank the people that make this possible for you.
I'd like to thank Rod for throwing the series together. Well, I say throwing, for running this. I know it takes a lot of time. I'd like to thank Corsa Sport Exhaust and Raising Cane's.
And I will say, Casey, that we were having a conversation on those final couple of laps, and I think I got stuck with buying canes for everybody after the race. But again, hey, thanks for sticking around and chatting with us. Again, congratulations, sir, on the win. Well-deserved tonight. It was a fast racetrack, and you earned this victory. So again, congrats. Best of luck. There's still plenty of racing left. We'll see you hopefully a couple. So Casey Malone gets the W, I get the bill, and with that, we bring part 1 of our triple header tonight at LSRTV and iRacing Live to a close, guys. Last season, and last couple more times in this Season 2 schedule.
Alrighty, that sounds good. Thanks.
The opening season for this RODDCAR Truck Tour took place in 2015. We were talking about back-to-back winners. We always saw guys win in increments of 2. I kind of like this trend. New faces going to victory lane, second week in a row, coming off of Daytona last week, Josh, where we saw a first-time winner go to victory lane, and same thing here tonight.
Yeah, and you know, 2 different winners back-to-back weeks, and it was a great race out there, Evan. Just everybody with that new fixed setups, and everybody's fixed setup. Sorry, I had a mic problem there. And basically what happened was, everybody was able to stay closer together. Last season we saw the Atlanta race come down to the wire in a big wreck with Shane McEachin. But, he was able to walk away with the victory. The new fixed setups versus the open setups, as you were talking, you heard Rodney Wofford there say that he definitely enjoyed more of the fixed setup, so he can just go out there and race. So, a couple of those guys definitely enjoying it a lot more. It's definitely provided a lot more fun racing. So be interesting to see the rest of the season how it goes. Competition is definitely going to be a lot closer together, hopefully.
And we look forward to Darlington in 2 Friday nights time for now, but you don't have to worry and wait 7 days because obviously next Friday we still have our regular LSRTV doubleheader coming to you. We now look forward to the second half of our evening's coverage because we have the duels at Daytona for the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series coming up. And Andy, that one sure to be exciting. We got some twin 40 lappers coming up.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Guys racing their way, trying to get themselves into the big show the following week. So, listen, there's a lot of things can happen in those races, and some guys might have their feelings hurt when it comes down to the end of that thing if they don't get themselves a good a qualifying spot for the big race. So we'll keep an eye on that, but excited to see you talk about back-to-back winners. Well, we had back-to-back first-time winners here this season, so pretty cool for everybody on that aspect. Looking forward, though, to the duels coming up here just momentarily.
Yeah, the duel is going to be coming up. We hope you join us again for part 2 of tonight's coverage. And with 2 duels coming up, we got 3 races total. LSRTV, the place to be as always for sim racing coverage on Friday evenings. And our coverage of that going to be kicking off here in just about 25 minutes or so. We'll be live from the World Center of Racing for the duel at Daytona. Going to set the grid for next Friday's iSuperspeedway 500. So until Darlington, though, on behalf of everybody at the RODDCAR Truck Tour, and on behalf of everybody at LSRTV2 for the team tonight as well, for myself, Evan Posoko, for Andy Kessler, and a big thanks as well to our iSuperspeedway driver analyst Josh Ball, and a shout out to LSRTV producer Cisco Scarmuza for getting us on the air tonight. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Congratulations to Casey Malone, your big winner in Hotlanta, walking away with the hardware in the Atlanta 200. We'll see you in 20 minutes, part 2 at Daytona. Dual action coming up next on LSR TV.